Hey there. I'm Amy, and I recently turned 40. I'm a trader and investor working in foreign exchange and stocks. My career is going well, and I can say I'm quite wealthy. I was born with a chronic illness. It's not life-threatening, but I can't overexert myself, and doctors have advised me against having children due to the risks involved. My parents never hid this from me. From a young age, I've faced my illness head-on, with my parents raising me to live with this awareness. My father, who worked at a securities company, taught me about stocks, which now helps me in my career. My husband's name is Tom, 30 years old. He's 10 years younger than me, and we've been married for 2 years. Our meeting started when Tom came to work as a waiter at my regular restaurant. I thought he was handsome, but it was just a customer-staff relationship. Somehow, he grew fond of me, and we went from friends to lovers, and before I knew it, we were considering marriage. I thought I couldn't go on like this. After all, I have a body that shouldn't have children. Tom is still in his 20s. I can't let someone so young give up the possibility of having his own children just to marry me. I refused his proposal once, saying that. But then Tom said to me, "I proposed because I want to live with Amy. If I wanted children, I would have chosen someone else from the start. Or do you not trust me that much?" I was so happy I cried, and I decided to accept the proposal. Right after getting married, Tom started saying this: "I'll become a homemaker and take care of everything at home. I don't hate being a waiter, but it's easier for you to work, right? You know I'm good at cooking." Tom really is as good at cooking as he says. He had an interest in food and got into that field for that reason. Though he didn't work in the kitchen, he learned a lot by watching. The first time we really talked was about something like that. My brother works in a restaurant, and when I said he started his own place, Tom got really interested and we had a lively conversation at that time. Tom said he wanted to own a business someday, so he was eager to hear stories, his eyes sparkling. When I saw those eyes, I thought he was great. But when I asked what he'd do about his dream if he became a homemaker, he replied like this: "Do you think you can't own a shop if you're a homemaker? Isn't that disrespectful to people who are full-time homemakers?" That's an old-fashioned idea. In today's world, besides, it's lonely being apart, right? I want to spend as much time with Amy as possible. When he's sweet like that, I'm weak, so I agree to his proposal. I work and Tom does all the housework. At first, it really worked well, but gradually, Tom stopped doing housework. The living room, which used to have a newlywed vibe, now has comics and games piled up everywhere, and Tom sits in front of the big TV playing games all night. At first, it was just occasionally, so I thought it was okay, but it gradually got worse, and soon we were living completely nocturnally. "Tom, don't you think it's getting a bit too much lately? I'm just really into this game right now. Could you overlook it until I finish, please?" He said that, begging cutely, so I reluctantly agreed to wait until he finished the game. But before I knew it, he was hooked on a new one. The house was a complete mess. When we first got married, Tom used to clean meticulously and made the house comfortable. He was a really good homemaker. What happened? After months of enduring, I finally decided to speak up. "Tom, I need to talk to you." "What's up?" "I married an adult man, but now it feels like I'm living with a grade school kid. I feel like a mom scolding her child to do homework before playing games. We're supposed to be partners, not parent and child. You're the one who wanted to be a homemaker, so please keep that promise. It's not that I don't want you to play, but please finish your chores first." When I poured out my feelings, Tom thought for a bit and then said, "Okay, I got it. I was taking it too easy. I'll play after I've done the housework. I'll do it properly." True to his word, Tom went back to being the perfect homemaker, but something was different. He always seemed unhappy. In the beginning, he used to cook joyfully and proudly show off the clean house. But now he just rushes through chores and shuts himself in his room. He used to play games on the big TV in the living room or read comics sprawled on the sofa. But now he spends his time playing online games on the computer in his personal room. He started saying things like this more often while laying out the food he cooked on the table. I have a meeting scheduled with my gaming friend. I don't have time, so please eat alone. I'll wash the dishes if you leave them. I eat alone, watching Tom's back as he retreats to his room. No matter how delicious the food is, its taste is halved, but since he keeps his promise of doing the housework, I can't really complain. And it wasn't just about meals anymore. I have a battle tonight, and I don't know when it'll end, so you should go to bed first, he said, not returning to the bedroom. It's been like that almost every night recently. He goes out alone during the day. When I ask where he's going, he just says shopping and doesn't return until night. But even then, he always prepares my meal. It feels like sarcasm. I can't really complain since he's doing all the housework, cooking, and laundry just like I asked. But this isn't life as a family. It's like living with a live-in homemaker. We barely even talk now. I just eat the cold meals he's prepared, change into the clean clothes he's washed, and sit listlessly in the clean room. I think I might have been less lonely if I were alone. As I stare at the door to Tom's room and feel tears welling up, I still hope things will settle down and we will return to our old life. I've been silently enduring this life for about a year when suddenly Tom makes a shocking announcement. We're going to live with my sister and her husband starting today. Strangers should just stay in the facilities. Suddenly, Tom, my sister-in-law, and her husband barge into our house and say this. I'm completely baffled. I thought when Tom moved in here after we got married, they moved to the apartment he left. Wait, Tom, are you moving back to your old apartment? Confused, I blurted out, but the three of them look at each other and burst into laughter. No, I'm going to live here with my sister and her husband. You're the one who's leaving. I'm even more confused. Why do I have to leave this house? Because we can't continue as a couple anymore. What? According to Tom, I've been exploiting him as a substitute homemaker. In other words, I've been suffering from your emotional abuse all this time. That's terrible, Tom. So sad. Madison, his sister, said this with exaggerated pity, pretending to wipe away non-existent tears. But I can't take it anymore. I'm leaving you. I'll make sure to get alimony and a fair share of the property. First off, this house. I have the right to it since I've endured such a life for 2 years, right? Yeah, that's right. Tom kept making these claims and Madison was quick to back him up. Her husband just stood by grinning as he watched them. I see. I began to understand what was happening. Perhaps Tom had planned this from the beginning of our marriage. He charmed his way into my life intending to divorce at a convenient time. As he said, he was planning on getting everything. I had never planned to marry in my life. I knew I couldn't have children, and I wasn't particularly attractive or had a great personality. Why would any man want to marry a woman like that? So I decided to live alone, focusing on my work and hobbies. I had friends and a normal relationship with my parents and brother. After my father retired, my parents moved to a rural area where his family home was, living with my brother and his wife. My brother had worked in a restaurant for several years before marrying and starting a small restaurant of his own. He chose to live with our parents on a large property. They had built a separate house on the same land. I enjoyed visiting them, spending time with my parents, brother, and his wife, and their 2 children. I never felt lonely until I unexpectedly married a man 10 years my junior. Looking back, it seems I was skillfully manipulated. Listening to Tom and his family's words, I couldn't help but laugh at my own foolishness. Somehow, I wasn't surprised. Tom had approached me so suddenly and delved so deeply into my life like a made-up story. Initially wary, I let my guard down to his puppy-like affection. Now my mind was racing. How could I turn the tables on them? How could I give them a taste of their own medicine? As a trader, my job was to read situations, anticipate the future, and steer things in a favorable direction. I had always won my bets, and I could handle this situation too. I had to. As I looked down, deep in thought, Tom and his family continued to hurl insults. Hey, why are you so quiet? Come on, start packing. Get ready to leave. Perhaps it was best to leave this house for now. All right, I'll leave, I said, packing only my essentials, some clothes, my laptop for work, and a few small items. Here, contact this and leave, Tom said, handing a business card, apparently a lawyer's contact information. I'll contact this lawyer and ask for the divorce process. I'll contact you if needed. With a smug smile, they watched me leave the apartment, my own property. I had a destination in mind. For now, I decided to go there and think things over. I knew they'd probably reach out soon enough, so I'd deal with the rest later. I left the apartment complex in my car and headed to my destination. After a good night's sleep, I felt refreshed. I woke up later than usual and had a leisurely brunch. The food here is always delicious. It had been over 2 years since my last visit, the first time since getting married. I sent a message to Tom via text message, informing him of my current whereabouts and that I'd contacted the lawyer to handle further communications. Almost immediately, I got a call from him. It was faster than I expected. What's this all about? Tom's voice was followed by Madison's shrieks in the background, though I couldn't make out what she was saying. What do you mean? Don't play dumb, where you are right now. So they reacted to my location. I was kicked out, so I came here. Was that wrong? That's not the point, Tom continued, his voice tinged with irritation. That's a members-only luxury resort, right? Why are you there? Well, because I'm a member here. I never heard about this. Well, of course, I never mentioned it. True to Tom's words, this place is quite a luxurious hotel, but it's not just any hotel. It's a high-end accommodation with lifelong care, essentially a luxury nursing facility. It even has an adjoining hospital. You can stay here like a regular hotel, or you can live here like a normal residence if you buy it. To become a resident, it's said to cost at least $4 million, which made quite a buzz in the media. That's probably why Tom looked it up after seeing the name and then called me. Why are you a member of a place like this? Because I paid for the rights here. Tom was making incomprehensible sounds over the phone. Someone said something about going to a facility, right? So I decided to live here. You can continue living in the house if you want. Just remember the rent is $6,800 a month. What? That's your house. Why rent? I decided to sell it. I had been thinking about it for a while, and it seems unlikely I'll live there again. I hadn't planned to marry, and I bought this place when it was built to ensure I wouldn't be a burden in my old age. I already owned the apartment I lived in until yesterday, but good facilities like this don't come up for sale often. I took the plunge. I intended to move here when I got older. It's a bit far from the city center, a bit too early for retirement, so I used it as a vacation home, coming here occasionally for a break. I kept it a secret from almost everyone. Only my accountant and lawyer knew about it. Give me that place too, Tom suddenly demanded. It's for my alimony. I'll take that too, or better yet, give that back and I'll live there. That's a very convenient statement. His sense of entitlement was astonishing. I have no intention of giving it to you. From now on, please communicate through the lawyer. You have the contact information. Goodbye. I hung up the phone and turned it off. Perhaps a visit to the spa to soothe not just yesterday's fatigue. The exhaustion of the past 2 years would be good. Surprisingly, the next day Tom and Madison's family showed up at the hotel. Tom insisted at the front desk that he had a right to enter as a family. I had requested no unauthorized visitors, and the facility wouldn't just let in guests uninvited. It's a really well-managed place. I considered ignoring them but didn't want to cause the staff any trouble. Reluctantly, I agreed to meet them in the hotel lobby, where there were other people around and the concierge close by for assistance if needed. When I asked Tom what he wanted, he gave me a charming smile and said, "Amy, you're really something keeping a place like this hidden. Why didn't you tell me about it?" "Yeah, why did you keep it a secret?" Madison chimed in, mirroring Tom's expression. Seeing them together like this, they really did resemble each other, both in appearance and pettiness. We're not related anymore, so I don't need to tell you anything. Please leave, you're bothering me. We're still married. We were. I told Tom that our divorce process has started, so you and I are no longer connected in any way. Why did you do it on your own? Why? He was the one who initially asked for divorce from me. Don't worry. Divorced couples can remarry, so just reapply. So that's it, Tom said, with Madison echoing some half-baked legal knowledge she picked up. I refuse, I said curtly, standing up and ignoring their attempts to follow as I headed back to my room. The concierges at the facility stopped them. I won't give up. I'll come every day to show you how much I love you. You are so cruel. I returned to my room, tired of their theatrics, and immediately contacted my lawyer to take action. This was more urgent than I had anticipated. I never thought I'd be doing something like this. Just yesterday, I was proactive as expected. Tom and his family started showing up at the facility every day, waiting for me in the lobby. Even after my lawyer issued a restraining order, they resorted to shocking tactics. I was deceived into marrying Amy. I'm demanding alimony. According to him, he didn't know I couldn't have children and wouldn't have married me if he had known, so he was claiming alimony. If I didn't pay, he threatened to report me for marriage fraud. I handed a recording to my lawyer. I proposed to you because I wanted to spend my life with you, Amy. If I wanted children, I would have chosen someone else. Don't you trust me? The recording captured Tom's words when he proposed to me, preserved in perfect clarity. Tom was furious about the recording's existence, but it was simply due to my cautious nature. You never know what might happen in this world, so I've made a habit to record potentially significant moments. It was just a habit. I trusted Tom would listen to this recording alone, reminiscing about the feelings of that time. Little did I know it would come in handy like this. Tom then claimed that after we married, he was forced to quit his job and do housework, accusing me of emotional abuse and demanding alimony. If I refused, he threatened to report me for coercion. I submitted another piece of data in response. I'll take care of all the household chores. I don't hate being a waiter, but it's easier for Amy to work, right? You know I'm good at cooking. It was a recording of Tom declaring he'd become a homemaker. Next, Tom demanded compensation for the emotional distress caused by the recordings, threatening to report me for illegal surveillance. Unfortunately for him, there's no such specific crime. Legal issues arise if the information gained from such surveillance is used to harm someone or if there's a break-in to install devices, but the act of recording itself is not a punishable offense. Frustrated by his failures, Tom finally demanded alimony for the divorce itself, but he was the one who initiated it without any valid reason, even presenting me with a lawyer's contact information. Of course, I also had that conversation recorded. My lawyer explained that if anything, Tom should be the one paying alimony based on the entire situation. In the end, Tom tearfully begged for at least a share of the property division. I agreed to his request. I'll have the property appraised and the numbers calculated. Please vacate the apartment until then. We'll meet at the lawyer's office once everything is ready. They left quickly, allowing me to sell all the furnishings in the apartment and put it up for sale as I had planned. Due to rising property values in the area, it sold for more than I expected. When Tom and his family saw the total value of my assets, which amounted to several $billion, they were ecstatic. So I get half of this, right? Certainly not. This was simply the total of the wealth I had accumulated on my own. When the lawyer handed over a document that calculated Tom's share, he turned red and became angry. Why? Why is my share zero? The lawyer presented Tom with documents showing he was entitled to nothing. Most of my assets were acquired before our marriage, and he had no claim to them. For the income earned during our marriage, after deducting living expenses, necessary costs, and the alimony I demanded, he actually owed more than he was entitled to. Why do I have to pay alimony? The lawyer explained, showing evidence Tom had been unfaithful, having an affair with a girl he met in an online game. He told her I was 10 years older with a chronic illness and he'd inherit all my wealth if something happened to me. The girl, not taking him seriously but enjoying the perks, agreed to testify in exchange for not being sued for alimony. And then Tom, you also said this. The recording played the testimony of the girl. The contents were as follows. Tom had told her that having children could be life-threatening for me. He planned to cry and beg her to have his child if it came down to it, believing I would do it if I felt it was life or death. She testified that he said all this while laughing. You should be grateful I'm not pressing charges. Your cooking was good and you gave me some entertaining dreams, so let's call it even. I won't ask for anything more. Tom hung his head, accepting everything. Thus my brief marriage ended in misfortune. I don't know, nor do I want to know, what happened to Tom and his sister's family afterward. As long as they never appear before me again, that's all I need. Pursuing them further would only bring me more misery. Though the experience left me with significant emotional damage, fortunately, I have plenty of money and time to heal. I embarked on a world cruise on a luxury liner, meeting various people from around the world, seeing different places, and enjoying my time. There were moments of romantic excitement, but I held back, recalling Tom's deceit. I'm not ready to go through that kind of hurt again. That's what I thought. Back in the States, I started a new life. I initially relaxed at the resort hotel, but soon grew bored. I'm only 40. I'm still young. Living with a younger Tom made me overly conscious of my age. During my year-long cruise, I met an 80-year-old woman who was still active and looking for new love. Why should I give up everything at half her age? Despite the unfortunate end, falling in love was enjoyable. Why should I let one bad experience dictate giving up on that possibility? That's how I felt. As I thought about this, my phone lit up with a message. It was from a man I met on the cruise. He was visiting my city and invited me for dinner. He was traveling with his high school-aged daughter. We got along well, exploring different ports together. Maybe having a daughter feels like this, I thought as I remembered our enjoyable time. I eagerly agreed to meet him, feeling a flutter of excitement in my heart. It felt like the start of a new chapter.